Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I guess depends on when you're watching this video. Well, first and foremost, welcome to week number 6 of our Principles of Management Summer Edition. I appreciate all your effort this semester. It's gone quick, very quick, and we're at the end. Basically, this is the last video that you will see of me, and then you can put this experience behind you, and I hope that you've enjoyed it. I hope that it has been beneficial in your journey here with us at GNTC. So want to give you guys just kind of a wrap up of what to expect here in the next couple of days or weeks, I should say, and talk a little bit about this week. So of course I am grading through last week, which is our discussion in regards to what makes a difference between a leader and a manager. I would say that you guys are on top of it. You understand the system, you understand how it works. I appreciate you putting effort. I know we've had a lot of conversations around the use of technology and understanding that, and I think that, you know, part of the process here is learning, is making mistakes and going through the process of understanding how to correct those mistakes and growing. So I hope you've used this opportunity to do that in understanding and challenging yourselves. I mean, some of our topics were pretty involved, and I hope that you realize that my goal in this journey during the semester is to challenge your way of thinking. Starting off from, of course, week number 2, when we talked about how we make decisions and the ethical perspectives in which we take. One of the big conversation topics there was in regards to lying, and how lying is good or bad, or not good or bad, I shouldn't use that term, if it's ever okay to lie. And some people, you know, took a stance that never okay, never okay. And then I, you know, brought up hopefully a different perspective in regards to lying and the purpose of a lie and the heart of it, the essential heart of it. And then we moved on in regards to chapter 3. We talked about our SWOT analysis, which is the strength, weaknesses, opportunity, threats. One thing that we kind of took out of that, or I hope you took out of that, is that we are constantly asked in job opportunities about our strengths and weaknesses. So I think it's only valid for business students to understand that a SWOT analysis really is something that you should do to position yourself in industry, in the work environment. What's the strength that you bring a company? What are some of the weaknesses that you're challenged with? And what can you do to align your strengths with some of the opportunities that exist in this world? And what are some of the threats? You know, as you graduate, as you're going through this process and you graduate, there's going to be a moment when you, at least it happened for me, when I was completing my master's degree. I remember going through the struggle of submitting all my papers and going through my thesis and submitting my thesis and completing that and being, you know, graded on that work, and then getting a grade and passing. And in my master's program, you could only get an A or a B. There's no such thing as a C. C is failing. So you had to maintain a A or B average. So ultimately, you're really hoping that you completed all this, basically 2 years of work, and you're gonna complete the program, because not only do you need to keep your grades up, you need to get your thesis accepted at the end. So that stated, I submitted that. I thought, what a huge accomplishment. I was really grateful. I was done. You know, it took a lot of effort, a lot of time, a lot of studying, a lot of research, and then I end up submitting that, and I, you know, go to graduation. And when I went to graduate, and they said, you know, everybody that's graduating with a master's in business administration, please stand up. And I looked around, and there was just hundreds of people graduating with a master's. And I thought to myself, these are all people who are going to be competitors in the workforce. Thankfully, I was already employed, but some of these students were going to go out there, and they thought that because they have a master's in business administration, they were going to get these doors just slammed right open. And technically, that's not the case. So you have to really understand what's your strength in the industry. What is it that you bring that no one else can bring to a company? But you also have to understand what your weaknesses are. So I think the SWOT analysis is an important tool, not just for business, but for ourselves. Of course, we study this because we want to understand from a business perspective how to position a business, but from a personal perspective, how to position ourselves, how to utilize our talents in the work environment. And then I hope that you took away from the management and leadership conversation from last week that there are times where you are required to be a manager. There are times where management and the talents and characteristics of management are important, where you have to separate yourself and really bring a performance, really bring a result to the company. But there's times where a company needs a leader, someone to inspire and motivate and encourage and build people. And yes, a lot of you guys reference like servant leadership. Whatever style, and you're going to go through a class probably if you're in business management that's called leadership, that describes the different styles. And through this journey, I hope you start defining your style and understanding the benefits and the negatives in that style and how some people might misinterpret that. So I want you to know that I didn't just put together a class to give you busy work. I purposed the class to prepare you for the world of principles of management. That was the goal. The goal was to give you at least the foundations. Now, I do recognize and understand that this is an associate's level course. It's not a master's, it's not a PhD. We're not in a doctoral program. But I still feel like the opportunity to push you in what we refer to in the educational world as Bloom's taxonomy, is push you into an analytical perspective, is important at an early stage in your journey of higher education. I hope that this inspired you to continue to seek more than just get a degree. Anyone, as I mentioned, can get a degree. There was hundreds of people graduating. During my daughter's graduation at UGA, a similar scenario happened. They said, everyone's graduating from the business program at UGA. Please stand up. And hundreds, if not thousands of students during her semester alone stood up. And these are people that are going to go into the workforce looking for a job. I mean, they're all going to go looking for the same job. So there has to be something that makes you different. Anyone can get a degree. And I actually know people have a degree and they're doing nothing with it. There's not an opportunity that they can find themselves in because they didn't take advantage of this journey. So as we close off the semester, I want you to understand that this was curated to help you understand the mindset of business from a principles of management, the foundations of management. And if you did the class right, you understand that there are some things in management that make you different. And there's some things in leadership, and hopefully when you take leadership class, you understand the styles of leadership. But there are skills that businesses look for, and you cannot just say, here, I have a degree. No one cares. I mean, that's important to get your foot in the door and get the interview, and that's the minimal qualification. But to get the job, it's going to require your strengths to really shine. So I hope you took advantage of these short 7-8 weeks. I hope you took value, you extracted value from this moments of conversations with your classmates and with your teams. And I just pray that, that you are able to actually, it makes a difference in your journey. So that's my hope. As you've seen in this week, we talk about a purpose statement. A lot of you have been posting yours already, and I appreciate that. And I think it's important for you to have that in the back of your mind, to understand why you're here. Why are you doing this? Because I guarantee you there'll be a moment in your journey here that you are not going to want to continue. You're going to say to yourself, why am I doing this? What's it worth? And if you don't understand your purpose behind it, it's easy to give up. It's easy to quit. For those of you who commented on the video that you watched for my acceptance speech, I appreciate it. Since then, I don't know if I shared this with you. In 2023, I did receive a transplant after several years. So think about in 2019, I have been on dialysis for basically 19 years. And then in 2023, I finally got a transplant. So almost 20 something years on dialysis, and I finally got a transplant. The transplant, ironically, was an incredible story because I unfortunately lost my father that week. I lost my father early March, and I was in New York. I was there, and I got a call that my dad had passed. We were expecting him to pass, and he was home on a hospice and surrounded by my family. I wasn't able to be there that week, but when he passed, I flew down to do his funeral. I did his funeral, and on Thursday I was able to do his eulogy and conduct the services. And Friday morning, when we were home with my mom and just kind of figuring things out for what's next, I get a phone call from New York, which was a clinic that I had, a hospital that I had signed up for to see if I can find a kidney, and they had found one. Ironically, the next day after my dad's funeral, they called me and they said I need to go to New York. That was Thursday. I think by Saturday, I was flying into New York with my family. Remind you, I still live in Georgia, so I had to fly out to New York with my family. We flew out there, and I ended up getting transplanted that Sunday. I'm pretty sure it was that Sunday, and ended up staying in New York for 6 months to recover from that. So it was a long journey. It was a little bit confusing, having just lost my, dad, and then going through this moment of a transplant that I've been waiting for so many years. So you're seeing a video of that process and now the end result of that, and how on the other side of this, I'm doing well, I'm healthy, I'm strong, I'm grateful. But in my purpose statement, one thing that I mentioned is that I do this because I do believe in this process. My father, as I mentioned, didn't have much of an education, not on purpose, but because of financial and social situations in his country. They've come to this country, and we've prospered. And now, one of the things that I remember telling my dad before he passed was appreciating the sacrifice that he made. Some of you have mentioned that you're the first generation graduate. I as well am a first generation college graduate. I think it's important to recognize that what we do is not just an accomplishment for us, but for those behind us, those that see us, those that come after us. I've shared with you my personal journey and story. I shared with you my daughter now is a kindergarten teacher, graduate of UGA. I could hear some of you guys screaming, "Go Dogs." But yeah, she's a graduate of UGA. My son's one semester away from graduating his undergraduate program, and then he'll be moving on to become a PA. So by the way, for those of you who are interested, he finally got a job, or landed the job that he was looking for to complete his hours to go into PA school. So, all of that has happened because someone took a sacrifice. My father made a sacrifice for his family. He had a purpose statement. He had a rooted cause for his sacrifice and paid a price because it was worth it. And that's what you're doing. You're paying a price because you believe your success and your completion of this degree is going to impact somebody. And believe me when I say it will. It will change the future of many people, directly and indirectly. And I believe that wholeheartedly. That's why I believe in education. I believe that this is a vehicle to help us break cycles in our lives. And going from just one generation separates me from people who were illiterate. My grandmother couldn't read when she was younger. She couldn't read till she was older. She couldn't write. And now here we are, in this position of privilege and this position that only God's grace could allow us, but the sacrifice of my parents. So I appreciate you listening to my story, being a part of this journey, and thank you for allowing me to be a part of your journey. Once again, connect if you haven't connected with me in some form or fashion. I love to stay connected with you guys and see your journey, because I feel like I get to celebrate what we do by seeing your success and live through that journey with you. So I appreciate you guys. I hope you had a great semester. Take care. Make sure you register if you haven't. Don't forget to look into that small business management that just is launching in fall. Take care, everyone. I appreciate all your work, and have a great rest of your summer.